ببینید یکی از مشکلاتی که در طول این 5-6 ماه اخیر که بازار نزولی بوده خیلی من میشنیدم این بودش که مثلا همه انتظار دارن دولت بیاد کمک کنه بازار بره بالا و سود کنن. چرا؟ چون شما در بازار بورس فقط میتونین از بالا رفتن قیمت سود کنید. یعنی اگر قیمت ها بالا بره شما سود میکنید، اگر پایین بیاد ضرر. ولی در بازار آتی ما به دلیلی که شبیه بازارهای بین المللی یه بازار دوطرفه است، فرقی برای شما نمیکنه قیمت ها بالا بره یا پایین بیاد، شما فقط باید جهت رو تشخیص بدید. اگر قیمت ها بالا بره با خریدن میتونید سود کنید، اگر قیمت ها پایین بیاد با فروختن. منتها ممکنه یه سوال براتون پیش بیاد چجوری ممکنه من بفروشم بدون که داشته باشم؟ مفهوم این وسط پیش میاد به اسم شورت سلینگ یا فروش تعهدی یا فروش استقراضی، که حالا من چون صحبت با هم داشتیم که مفاهیم یه مقداری بتونیم علمی تر بگیم، جوری که حالا اگر بچه‌ها دوستان خواستن تحقیق کنن، ببینید مفهوم فروش تعهدی تو بورس هم وجود داره، منتها هنوز سازوکارهاش اجرایی و عملیاتی نشده. یعنی از پارسال تقریبا شاید بیشتر، نزدیک به 17-18 ماه که من اون زمان کارگزاری بودم، کاملا سازوکاراش بود، فروش تعهدی وجود داره، ولی الان اجرایی نشده. یه مثال بزنم که بچه‌هایی که الان دارن لایو میبینن حس کنن چه فضای جذابی میتونه باشه. کلا مشتقات اصلا دنیای خیلی جذابیه. فرض کنید مثلا شما تو اوج قیمت توی زمان تیر و مرداد فولاد داشته. فولاد اوج قیمتش حدود 2200 تومان بود. اون زمان به دلایلی که حالا من نمیدونم یا رانت داشتین یا خودتون تحقیق کرده بودین، میدونستین که بازار قرار ریزش کنه و فولاد برسه به 1200 تومان. خب شما به عنوان یک تحلیلگر بورس تنها کاری که میتونستین بکنین این بود که فولادتون رو بفروشین، صبر کنین بشه 1200 و بخرین. یعنی عملا سودی نمیکردین، فقط و فقط میفروختین و صبر میکردین. اما به عنوان یک معامله‌گر مشتقه میتونستین اگر این ابزار بود چیکار کنین؟ به یک نفری که فولاد داره بگین میشه فولاد رو به من قرض بدین. یک نفر مثل شما فولادش رو به من قرض میداد. مثلا فرض کنین شما 2 میلیارد تومان فولاد داشتید، به من قرض میدادید. من به شما تعهد میدادم که 6 ماه بعد سهام شما رو پس بدم. شما فولاد رو به من قرض میدادید، من این 2 میلیارد رو تو بازار میفروختم، پولو برمی‌داشتم میذاشتم تو بانک. بعد از 6 ماه 2 میلیارد رو که برمی‌داشتم میرفتم تو بازار، چه اتفاقی میافتاد؟ الان با 2 میلیارد که هیچ، با 1 میلیارد و 200 میلیونش میتونم همون فولاد رو بخرم. این فولاد رو میخرم و به شما پس میدم. شما به عنوان کسی که صاحب اون سهم بودین چی گیرتون میاد؟ اون سود بانکیه. یعنی من مابعد تفاوت سود بانکی رو میدم به شما، عملا شما که سهامدار عمده بودین یه سود بانکی هم گیرتون میاد. من چی گیرم میاد؟ من فولادم رو 2 میلیارد فروختم، الان 1 میلیارد خریدم، 1 میلیارد و 200، 800 میلیون سهم من میشه.
Between options and futures. An option gives the buyer the right, but not the obligation, to buy or sell a certain asset at a set price during the life of the contract. A futures contract gives the buyer the obligation to buy a certain asset. The seller has the obligation to sell and deliver the asset on a future date. Buying an option requires a premium. The premium is the most he can lose. Entering into a futures contract requires no upfront cost aside from commissions. The underlying position in a futures contract is generally much larger than it is in options. The obligation to buy or sell at a given price makes futures contracts more risky. The gain on an option can be realized by exercising the option when it's deep in the money, taking the opposite position in the market, or waiting until it expires and collecting the difference between the asset price and strike price. Gains on futures update daily to reflect current fair market value. But a futures holder can also realize gains by taking the opposite position in the market.
What moves the gold price?
In the short term, interest rates or interest rate expectations move the gold price, as does the price of the American dollar. And then in some ways, certain market cyclical elements also move it. Recently, everyone expected the gold price to go up based on the uncertainty of a Trump election. In actual fact, gold had been one of the best performing asset classes over the year. But when Trump said he was going to spend a massive amount of money in infrastructure, all of the hot money that was in gold, because it was topical, a certain amount of that moved out of gold to go into the next hottest asset class, which was general commodities, which were undervalued and looked like they were about to go up. Because of course people thought that when Trump said he was going to invest in infrastructure, they thought he meant tomorrow, not probably in a year or two from now, which is a little more likely.
So we're seeing big jumps in the likes of copper and other commodities now, yeah?
Absolutely. And I tend to believe that Trump, like any government or any leader, when he says he's going to do something, he's going to do his best to try to do those things. I'd be very happy if he could pull off a fifth of all the things he promised. But most of the things he promised to do look like they're very good for the American economy. They're the sound, growth-oriented management systems that will help America grow and come out of the lethargy of the financial crisis, which is, despite all the quantitative easing, hasn't truly gone. It's that stoking the fire of growth that he has made indication, or he has said he's going to try to help. And one of the many ways he said he's going to do that is infrastructure. Infrastructure requires commodities and raw materials. Therefore, that hot money that had flooded into gold as the newest, hottest asset class of 2016 has rushed into commodities. It'll rush into something else soon as well. Like whatever the next hottest thing in 6 months from now will be, it'll rush into that.
One of the defining features of the futures market is the standardization of contracts. Two important aspects of standardized futures contracts are the contract unit and the contract notional value. The contract unit can be based on volume, weight, or a financial measurement, depending on the contract and the underlying product or market. For example, a single COMEX gold contract unit, trading code GC, is 100 troy ounces, which is measured by weight. A NYMEX WTI crude oil contract unit, trading code CL, is 1,000 barrels of oil measured by volume. The E-mini S&P 500 contract unit, trading code ES, is a financial calculation based on a fixed multiplier times the S&P 500 index. Contract notional value, also known as contract value, is the financial expression of the contract unit and the current futures contract price. Using the same contracts, how is notional value determined? Assume a gold futures contract is trading at a price of $1,000. The notional value of the contract is calculated by multiplying the contract unit by the futures price. In this case, 100 troy ounces times $1,000. The notional value for this contract at this price would be $100,000. If WTI crude oil is trading at $50 and the contract unit is 1,000 barrels, the notional would be 50 times 1,000, or $50,000. Now assume the E-mini S&P 500 futures are trading at 21.20 even. The multiplier for this contract is $50. $50 multiplied by the contract price, you get a notional value of $106,000. Why is contract unit and notional value so important to market participants? Notional values can be used to calculate hedge ratios versus other futures contracts or another risk position in a related underlying market. How might a portfolio manager with a $10 million U.S. equity market exposure use notional value of the E-mini S&P 500 futures to determine a hedge ratio? A hedge ratio is determined by taking the value at risk, in this case $10 million, and dividing it by the notional value of the contract. Using our previous example of the E-mini S&P 500 futures with a value of $106,000, 10 million divided by 106,000 rounded to a whole number equals 94 futures contracts. If the portfolio manager sells 94 E-mini S&P 500 futures against her long equity cash position, she has effectively hedged her market risk. There you have it. Contract unit and contract notional value, two important features of standardized futures contracts.